Okay, so welcome everybody to our online webinar. I'm here with colleagues from my Department of Communication Science, and today we'll take you through our program, to our study, and let you know what we're about and what we think you will be interested in since you are here attending this webinar. So let's get started. So yeah, we are at the University of Twente. We are at a high-tech human touch university, and it will become clear to you why we are at a high-tech human touch university and how that affects our program as well. So let's get started and take you to the schedule for now. So we'll talk a little bit about, obviously about communication science. So what do we do? What's our field of study about? We'll talk about you, so about your interests, or at least what we think are your interests. We talk about us, so what do we value? What is our program? What are our ambitions and goals? And then Jordi Gosselt will take over, and he will talk to you about about our educational program specifically, talk about a specific module, and take you through that. Then we have one of our students, Jip, talk to you a little bit about student life, and Gert Brinkman, he will take over and also talk to you about the more formal aspects, so how to actually get here and start your program. So, but first, what is communication science? So let's have a look at that, because of course, obviously, that is most important and probably one of your key questions. So we're basically about people and about the way they interact, about the way they share information, work together, and build relationships. And as you can see here, it can involve different disciplines. So it can indeed be about a CEO who talks to his or her employees in an organizational context. But it can also be about branding. So how do companies and brands promote their products, their services, online, offline, you name it. So here you see a pretty traditional billboard picture, but also very much into online marketing, social media, those aspects. And what's also very important to our program, which also connects to the fact that we are here at a high-tech university, is that we also talk and communicate about technology. So for instance, you see a drone here, and I just heard this story last week of one of my neighbors who talked to a guy who shot a drone from his garden. And the reason why he did that is that he didn't really know what his drone was doing there. So he thought, well, are they spying on me? What's this drone actually capable of? So the fact he was just insecure, and he didn't know what his drone was doing and capable of in the first place. And you see oftentimes that kind of insecurity, those feelings, oftentimes play a big role in whether people accept a new development, a new technology in their lives or not. So that's also a very important part of our program. So let's talk a little bit now about you, about who we think that you are and what we feel is important to our program. So first of all, this is not a program in which you sit inside all day, close the curtains, turn off the music, and stare at that hopeless little screen. No, we really feel we have a program that invites you to go outside, to have an open mind, to have a broad interest, and actually explore the world, to really engage with the world. So in that sense, this is a different program than programs in which you actually do have to sit inside most of the day in a lab behind your computer, etc. That's not us. Of course, if you actually go outside, you will also find that the world is complex, and it's not as black and white as research sometimes suggests, especially lab research, for instance. So, of course, it's not black and white, and that makes it complex. But at the same time, that might be a big challenge to you. So that might be one of the things that you think of as attractive. And what we see in most of our students, that is indeed what they like and think of as attractive. Of course, if you feel like that, you also care about society and you want to engage with it. So it's not just like a sort of indifference. Okay, let's see what's out there, but you actually do care. You want to make the world a better place, at least to some extent. you are observant and sensitive and see things others miss. Well, okay, so what do we mean by that? Well, it could entail, or it could mean that you actually have a very keen eye and really are observant to things going on around you. So, for instance, if you look at social media, you may have sensed from the start that in addition to being, of course, a wonderful platform to connect to others and communicate, share your stories, and get our likes and comments, you might also note or observe that there is also this dark side, that people may indeed become sort of addicted to likes and comments, right? Or that it might not be all for the good, that people sometimes get more isolated, even though social media, of course, are meant to make people feel more connected. So what I mean to say is that these are aspects that are not always openly discussed, well, more and more these days, because now we actually do have social media addiction clinics, so it's becoming quite of a topic. But these are the things that you might really be sensitive about and that you might take into consideration. So you also have this sort of skeptical attitude when it comes to new developments. And thus you are also very much aware of the impact of social media, of technology, of robots on our daily life. So we don't expect you and we don't teach you to be a tech developer yourself, but you should have this sense of affinity with technology, and you should care for it and be aware of the consequences. So both the good ones and then maybe the more negative ones. And no matter how skeptical you are, we believe at this university that in the end, technology is here to stay and it's for the good. So you believe in new ways of communicating. So whether it's a virtual meeting, whether it's VR or new types of developments, you believe that these things are here to stay and are in fact for the good. So I'll take you to a movie now and show you a little bit about who we are and what we stand for.
Once upon a time, business as usual was often good enough. No more. Where we are going, good enough is dead. In a world where everything is connected, where everything is equally excellent, where performance is reaching perfection, there's only one space left to innovate in: you. Right now, you are a central point in the raging tornado of change fueled by digitization, mobilization, augmentation, disintermediation, automation. Well, the list goes on. Science fiction is becoming science fact. Think about self-driving cars or computers that can learn and think. The way we work will never be the same. The skills we need will be dramatically different. Winning or losing are now happening faster than ever before. So what's your response? How will you discover new opportunities in one of the most transformational times in human history? Are you driving change, or are you being driven by it? Disruption has become the new normal. With change, it's always gradually, then suddenly, well, things really have stopped happening gradually. This change is exponential. Everything that used to be dumb and disconnected is now wired and intelligent. Cars, cities, ports, farms, even our bodies will be wired with sensors and will talk to each other. These game changers are also combinatorial. They amplify each other, creating a perfect storm of change. Quantum computing fuels big data. The Internet of Things fuels artificial intelligence and deep learning, which fuels robotics. However, anything that cannot be digitized or automated will become extremely valuable. Human-only traits such as creativity, imagination, intuition, emotion, and ethics will be even more important in the future, because machines are very good at simulating, but not at being. Yes, robots and software will do some of our work, but this will allow us to focus on things that cannot be automated. To imagine change squared, you've got to start engaging more with what might be, not just with what is. Immerse yourself in the immediate future 5 to 7 years out from today. We need to go beyond technology and data to reach human insights and wisdom. Technology represents the how of change, but humans represent the why. The future is about holistic business model. The opportunity is to be liquid, to learn just in time, not just in case, not single improvements, but complete transformations, not individual systems, but new ecosystems. Humanity is where true and lasting value is created. We will engage, relate, and buy things because of the experiences they provide, because of their transformative power. The future doesn't just happen. The future gets happened. The new way to work is to embrace technology, but not to become it. The future is in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. Let's live and lead from here.
So welcome again. That movie pretty makes clear how we feel about technology, and about also, of course, the central importance of taking a user-centered design perspective when talking about and when designing technology. It's pretty obvious. It also shows indeed how change has become the new normal and how everything changes all the time. So technology affects everything, but we, of course, in the end, we create technology. And it's those insights into what people value, into the experience, that should drive technology developments. At the same time, you also see it gets very complex. So, for instance, take the situation of work, right? So in the old days, we used to work all in the same building, used to meet in that same physical meeting place, talk to each other face to face. That's, of course, a totally different story now. People work in different countries. So within the same company, people may work in different countries, different headquarters, talk online, work at home, work in flexible workspaces. And of course, that's all very nice. It's dynamic. It makes everything connected. At the same time, it makes it more complex. So it makes it more complex in the sense that it's more difficult to organize things of people getting together and actually understand what your colleagues, for instance, mean. So it's also more complex. We need to make sense out of it, and we need to think of technologies and interventions that actually can help us in resolving this complexity. So that's actually our aim. So we aim to educate the communication professional of the future, and we want to do that by connecting communication theories with organizational context, technology development, and design. And here you see a slide of our building, so our headquarters, so to say. And we also have a keen eye for environmental design. So we really also wonder, both within our discipline, but also within our own building, okay, how can we stimulate learning, for instance, among students? How can we stimulate creative processes? How can we stimulate social learning in groups? How can we stimulate people when they are learning alone in cubicles, for instance, at our library? So those are also questions we think of as very important. And there are lots of insights that indeed show us that environmental design affects everything from learning to creative processes, to the durations patients stay in hospitals after surgery, for instance. So environmental design has a big impact on the way we feel, think, and behave. So why at this university? Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are at a high-tech human touch university. We have faculties here on robotics, on human media interaction, on industrial design engineering. So we work together with them. We have shared goals and shared ambitions. So in that sense, studying communication science at this university with this focus on technology and design and organization, I think we feel that's really the reason why we are unique in the Netherlands, and that our program is really different from what you will see elsewhere. So just to take you a little bit through these different pillars. Of course, when it comes to organizations and organizing, communication is one of the key ingredients to success. Whether we talk about traditional ways of organizing, of meeting others, or more new ways of meeting others or organizing, it will always be the case that communication is key to success. So organize is communication, essentially. And also what was clearly shown in a movie, communication and technology should team up. There will be no successful designs, no successful robots when they are not inspired or based on insights into human experience. So what are people's needs? So if you are at a care center and are living together with a care robot, which is maybe a little bit a new thing now, but will be not so new in 5 or 10 years from now. It will be actually the case that people indeed have long-lasting buddies and relationships, and may even marry robots, which sounds weird and absurd now, but the signs are there. So for these things to happen, we really need to know, okay, what are insights? What are people's needs? We need to have insights in those. So for instance, should a robot look like a real human, or should it not like a real human? So how should it behave? Should it be similar to us in some ways, or should it be totally not similar? So these are all key questions we need to address, and for which we need insights in human experience. And that's what we are here for at this department. A little bit more about design. So we talked about environmental design. This is just another way, another example of how design can actually promote behavior change. So this is a typical example. You may have seen it. It's a design that triggers people to take the stairs rather than the escalator. So what happens here in this case, if you walk these stairs shaped like a piano, you actually get to hear piano sounds. And by making it playful, by making it sort of challenging and fun, people indeed tend to use stairs more often. This is just a simple example of how design can guide or can help organizations or whoever in really fostering behavior change, positive change in society. So it was a pleasure talking to you. So next, Jordi Gasselt will take over for me and take you to our educational program in more detail.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Jordi Gasselt. I'm one of the teaching staff of this bachelor program. And I will tell you about 2 different things. I will tell you about our contents of the educational program. That's the first part. And in the second part, I will focus on one particular course that we offer that's called damage control. So that's the second part. But first, let's focus on the general overview of our program. And on this particular slide, you see, 10 different circles. And every circle represents a course that we offer, and we call them a module. So what becomes clear already is that we do not offer all kinds of different and small kind of courses. We offer 4 big modules per year. For every module, you can acquire 15 credits. So that makes a total of 60 credits at the end of year 1. 120 at the end of year 3, and at the end of year 2, and at the end of year 3 you have acquired 180 credits, which makes you a Bachelor of Science in the communication discipline. What we also see on this particular slide is the colors, and those colors represent the relative shares of our 3 focus points, so organization, design, and technology. That makes clear that, for example, our very first module that starts in September, that's going viral, that's really focused on organization and technology. And to make it a little bit more clear, the idea is here that you will do research into how to create an online campaign that goes viral at the end of this particular module, for example. So that's a focus on organization and technology. And then in the second module, the one that I will talk a little bit more about later on, that's damage control, also a focus on organization, but then in combination with design. And we have some modules, so that's for example, the final one in year 1 and also the first one in year 2 that address all 3 different focus points. So combining organization, design, and technology. What I will do next is tell you a little bit more about the way that we offer our education. Yeah, we say we offer innovative education, and why do we say that? Well, it's based on the idea that we follow the how we call it, the Twente educational model. And the Twente educational model, that's distinctive compared to all kinds of other educational programs within this country, but also abroad, because we offer those 4 big courses per year. But also within every course, there's one similarity, it's project-based learning. So that's the pink circle. That means that every module has a duration of 10 weeks. In week 1, you will get a specific assignment within the project from an organization, for example. And the idea is that in week 10, so at the end of this module, every module, you will come up with a kind of solution with your project group. And to come to that solution, you will get input from us, the teaching staff. And you will get input from theory, research methodology, and academic and professional skills. So those are the other 3 circles. To give you a little bit of an example, the first one that was called Going Viral. So the project is about creating an online campaign that goes viral at the end of the module. Theory then is about marketing communication, but also about social media communication. So what determines what kind of social media people use, for example? What do they try to find using particular social media platforms? That's theory, for example. Then research methodology, in this particular module, you will do some social media analysis. So how can you, in a scientific way, analyze online behavior of people? And skills is, for example, about how to present your findings in a convincing way by means of an elevator pitch, something like that. So those 3 together then give you input to successfully complete and finalize your project. Also, we work with a binding study advice in the first year. That means we want to stimulate the study progress of all of our students. Like I said in the beginning, you can acquire 15 credits per module, so 60 at the end of year 1. And you should have acquired 45 credits after your first year. So we want to make sure that there's a good fit between you and our educational program, because that benefits, of course, both parties. Theory meets practice. With that, we mean the theory that we offer in that blue part is not only being tested in some kind of an exam. We do that as well, of course, but also you directly apply it in your project. So that really deepens and broadens the understanding of the theory that you get offered. And finally, multidisciplinary on the campus. Yeah, like Thomas van Rompuy already told us, we're not here alone as a communication department and an educational program on this campus, but we have all kinds of different educational programs. So you will work together also in your project groups with students from psychology, industrial design, etc. So you will meet others as well. When we go to the next slide. Yeah, there it is. We see in the first year also 2 other modules, user experience, that's module number 3, and persuasive technology. Let's focus on these ones. Module 3, user experience. Here you see students working on a particular device. For example, on the picture on the left, you see people working with the HOMI. That's something that's being invented here at the university. And the whole idea of this technology is that it takes over all kinds of activities within the household of people. So the designer has some really specific ideas on how people should use this particular technology. But not only with this particular technology, but also in technology in general, the question, of course, is, do people really understand all those different features a technology has? So the idea is that communication students come into play and they talk to both parties. So they talk to the designer on the one hand, so what is the aim? What are the special features of this particular technology on the one hand, but also you will talk to users. So end users and consumers that should use this particular technology. And then the question is, what do they want from this particular device? What are their skills, for example? And your job in this particular project is then to align the needs and ideas of those two parties involved. The other module number 4 is persuasive technology, and here you design in your project group an app, and this app should be able to influence the people's behavior in a positive way. So for example, how can you design an app that can help people to stop smoking, or to drink less alcohol, or to produce less waste, for example? So this is really about social psychology in combination with all kinds of communication theories, to see how people behave, why people behave in a certain way, and how can you influence this particular behavior by means of such a simple thing as an app. And in the end of the module, you will then present your app to a board of local investors, and they will then decide on which app has the most innovative features and might be interesting to invest in. So that's the 4th module. In the 2nd year, we have 4 modules: facilitating technological change, the privacy paradox, communication by design, and changing organizations. Very briefly, facilitating technological change. In this module, the question is, how come that certain products, innovations, make it to the market while others fail? And then we see that it's not only due to the end consumer that has some kind of ideas about this particular innovation, but also all kinds of other actors around your organization, around your product, may have an influence as well. And the question is how to involve those particular actors within your new innovation. The privacy paradox, that's about online privacy. And here the question is, how come that people in the offline domain are very concerned about all kinds of privacy issues and do not want to share any kind of personal information if not needed? But in the online context, we tend to share all kinds of information, also all kinds of personal information. So how can we increase the awareness of online privacy? And you will do that in the end by making a documentary, a 10-minute documentary on this particular issue with your project group. Module 7 is about communication by design, and that has a clear link with some of the examples already given by Thomas. So how can the environment influence us? And to give another example, there are some people within our department that are focused on how can we change the looks and feel of, for example, waiting rooms within a hospital or at the dentist, so that people feel more relaxed, feel more at ease. And something simple like color use, for example, can already influence the way we feel. That's the question in Module 7. And finally, Module 8, changing organizations. It's about organizations that are changing rapidly these days, and what kind of leadership do we need for the future. Then the 3rd year, the first half year of your 3rd year, you will do something outside our own educational program, so outside communication science. And there are different options here. The first one is you do 2 other modules here at the university. So you will follow some modules from psychology, industrial design. There are many options here. They can also do that at another university, inside the Netherlands or abroad. The 3rd option are high-tech human touch modules. That means that you will work together in a project group, and you will be representing the communication discipline, and you will work together with 4 other students that are from other educational programs from this university, and you'll work on very particular high-tech human touch projects. This is still our bachelor. If you decide to do a master other than our own Master of Communication Science, you can use this half year to prepare for that particular master if there's no clear link between your current program, so the Bachelor of Communication Science, and that other master, to do a pre-master in that half year. And the final option is to acquire some working experience and do an internship, also within or outside the Netherlands. Okay, so that's the general program, and I will now focus to make it even more clear on one particular module. That's the second module of the first year. That's damage control. And damage control is about reputation and crisis management. As can be seen here, we see the 4 building blocks again. So there's the project, the theory, the research, and the skills. Focusing on the project, it's about reputation and crisis management. And the aim, as you can read on the right, is to learn students how to measure, analyze, and improve a reputation. And there are all kinds of different challenges within this particular project. The first one, in the first 2 weeks, for example, you will, together with some fellow students, form a project group, and you will then start a communication agency. So you'll think about issues like vision, mission, identity, and those kind of things. And based on that agency, you will then be hired by a particular organization to help them solve all kinds of reputation-related issues. It concerns a hospital. It has to deal with reputation issues because they are declining when it comes to their reputation, and they ask you the question, okay, come and help us, and how to solve this. So that's the project. Then the next part, to solve this project, you will get theory, and theory is related to all kinds of corporate communication related disciplines. So we will inform you about what is a reputation. How does reputation relate to image and identity? How can you measure a thing, a fake thing like a reputation? Stakeholder analysis. With stakeholders, we mean who are the groups around your organization you have to pay attention to. Communication strategy. How is reputation related to something like a crisis or to corporate social responsibility? How can news media affect your reputation? So these are all kinds of things that will come across within the theory part, and you will be tested in a written exam. But like I said, not only in the exam, but also this knowledge will be applied directly in your project. The skills, that's focused on, not finally, the skills is focused on a crisis situation, and there's a clip on that, so that will be clear in a later movie, because we also have the research, and in the research, like I said, you will help them fix their reputation, so you do a reputation measurement, and to do that in a scientific way, we will inform you about all kinds of ways to do academic research, like interviewing, observation studies, a survey, etc. To conclude, and this refers to the skills part, so the yellow circle, the orange circle, it's about crisis response and media representation. That means in the final weeks of this particular module, everything goes wrong with the hospital, and they have to deal with a crisis situation. And they will ask you to represent them in the media. And to give you some kind of an idea, this is how it looked like in this particular module.
We set up our own consultancy agency, and in our consultancy agency we had to advise a hospital. And during that project, but there was an entire crisis, and then we had to solve the crisis and do damage control. We had to be spokespersons for the hospital, and we had to protect the hospital while knowing what really happened and explaining what we were doing. So you really have to be very politically correct in a situation like that, and that's really interesting.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Yip. I'm a second year student here. I'm also the guy behind the chat, so if you do have any questions a bit later on, then feel free to send some more messages and I'll get back to you. So I hope you enjoyed that video and a kind of an overview of what the bachelor program looks like. I'm now going to quickly talk about my experiences as a student here. As you can probably tell from the chat, I'm very enthusiastic and I really enjoy my time here. And I'm sure when you guys join, you'll love it as well. I'm going to start with just playing a short video showing basically what it's like as a student here, showing a typical day at the University of Twente.
What are we saying though? Are we still doing the report on the church underwater?
No idea.
Sing the song by Hosier, Take Me to Church. Do it.
No.
Do it.
Take me to church, I worship like a dog at the shrine of your light.
So make sure to eat well to survive the day.
Good morning. I just woke up and I did the whole... Hello. And I did the whole morning ritual thing. I'm going to the campus to meet up with Sina. And we're gonna show you our day and walk you around campus a bit, show you what the buildings look from the inside, show you where we hang out during the day, so show you a lecture as well. Ready, steady. Let's go. Welcome to our lively campus. This is where we meet up with our project group to do project work, and we attend lectures as well in all these buildings around us here.
Since a lot of the students are also living on the campus and of course spending a lot of time at the campus, we have everything here from hairdresser, doctor, the student union, like we have all the sports associations here. And the good thing is that even if you need to buy something after a long day of studying, like sitting in the library or so, you can just go to the co-op and buy everything you need.
Okay, hold on. What are we doing here at 15 minutes past 12?
Buying wine for tonight. Do you want to show what the Kubicus is?
Yeah, I'll show you. Oh yeah, that's funny because that's where they are when we're doing this. Okay, so right now we're there.
Yeah.
Zoom it.
Welcome to the Kubicus. This is where most of the lectures take place because it's a building for our faculty. So one thing I really love about the university is that the doors of the teachers are always open.
Hoi, Luna.
Do you want to try another pill as well? I have one with hearts.
Yeah, right. Let's try that.
So a big part of our day is project work. This is when we are meeting up with our fellow project group members and we work on different topics, different projects for every single module. And this is where we try to incorporate the theories we learn along the way. And the good thing about project work is actually that you meet people from all over the world as well, because the study is quite international. So we're now at the design lab. This is the place on campus where people that are feeling inspirational and motivated can come. Design lab offers a lot of opportunities to practice creativity. So let's say you want to start a business, you want to have an original place to have your lecture, or you just want to do project work with a creative touch, and this is where you come. I used to do this so much when I was little. So that was our day at the University of Twente. In short, if you're looking for a place to get out of your comfort zone and to broaden your horizons a bit, this is exactly the place you want to be. We both really enjoy it.
And we hope to see you here next year.
So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. That should have hopefully given you a short idea of what a typical day looks like for us. and also shows you kind of some of the things that the campus and the city of Enschede have to offer. If you do have more questions about that and the kind of things you can do aside from your studies and next year's studies, then feel free to drop it in the chat and I'll reply as soon as possible. And that's one thing that I really love about this university, that there's so many opportunities to do things next to your studies, apart from just obviously getting your degree. And just to finish off my section, I'm just going to quickly talk about what a typical kind of week looks like for us. Obviously, every module does differ slightly, and it does vary. But typically, you spend 20% of your time working in project groups, and these are international people from all around the world, so you really get to learn what it's like to work with different types of people. We have 20% of our time is in lectures, so we get a tutor or a professor who comes and teaches us kind of the more difficult things that we have to read about in the books. We also have tutorials for the skills section of every module, so we learn how to do good presenting, how to write academically, in some cases how to make videos, how to work with different types of technology, all sorts of tutorials, which is kind of very hands-on, which also really helps in the project. And as you can see, the largest part is independent studying. So we do have a lot of free time to do our own studying, and that's time for you to spend how you like. So some people need more time in the project group to work on the project. Others need more time for studying, so you can sit down in the library or wherever or in a study area and read the books that you need to or the articles. And then finally, we have 10% of supervised project group work. So that's where a tutor will come and sit with you with your project, and you can get to work. And if you have any questions, they're always there to answer them or to help you if you get stuck. So you get a lot of guidance throughout this degree. And kind of leading on from that, the next person to come and talk is Gert Brinkman, and he's our student advisor. And he's very important because in any time during your study, if things aren't going well or you're struggling, he's the person that you can go to, and he'll help you throughout the application process. And with all sorts of things, if you get stuck, then he's there to advise you and help you out of that difficult time. So he's now going to talk a little bit about admission.
Good morning. My name is Gert Brinkman, student advisor for the Bachelor Communication Science. It was announced that I would speak about admission, but actually I'm going to do a bit more than that. I will start off with talking about career prospects. I think an important question for most students to be, what can you do with it once you're finished this study? Let me take you to the next slide. There it should be. There it is. First, I think it's important to bear in mind that a full-grown academic is understood for the labor market as someone who not only did a bachelor, which we are talking primarily about now, but also finishing a master afterwards. So let's see, how does that look in our case? After the bachelor, our bachelor students, communication science, 65% goes for our master, communication studies, here at University of Twente. 8% doing another master at the same university here. And then a minority goes to other universities, other masters, going to work, really a minority, or doing other things. So a vast majority is going for a master, and it's good to bear in mind that when I'm talking about career prospects, it is about people who finished a master, then going to the labor market. So a little bit about our master specializations. It's come in 4 tracks, and I think it reflects pretty much what you have been told you could hear about our bachelor. So the 4 master tracks are organization, communication, and reputation, technology communication, marketing communication, and design, and going on in marketing communication, but then digital marketing communication. So then let's go to the more important question. Do our master students, our alumni who finished the master going to the labor market, do they actually find a job? The answer is yes. 66% even within a month. And then going on 7%, 3%, it's depicted in the round, in the circle, as you see. So within 6 months, half a year, a comfortable 90% actually has a job on that labor market. Of course, a question that could be asked is it also on an academic level? On average, yes, but of course you have to start somewhere, and it's not true that you have the top position in your first job, but that's something different. But yes, in perspective, in the end, it trains for high-ranking jobs, and we'll give you some examples of that. First, let's see if you want to frame it like what kind of jobs are we talking about. Well, then you can frame it as a sort of top 5 job profiles based on function title. How do we know this? Very easy, because we are following our alumni. They follow us, they come back to the university, and one of those actions we undertake is always to follow them on their LinkedIn profiles, just public information. You could do the same, just go on LinkedIn and search for Communication Studies University Twente, and a lot might pop up amongst the information, like what are those people doing nowadays. So top 5 job profiles based on the function title. You find things like marketing, advertising, public relations, communication, the lot actually, ICT services, researcher. If you frame it in terms of what is their title, it's quite a lot, running from issue manager, social manager, consultant, designer, project manager, really did a lot. And in any company, it was told by my colleagues in the presentation up till now, that you find communication everywhere, so hence you find our students everywhere, and this is really to be taken literally. Maybe you say, yeah, it's not really on a concrete level yet, is it? So let me give you a few examples which might illustrate what I am saying here. Take an alumni like Marianne de Feiter. She's a global digital privacy officer at Philips. Or another alumni, Wout van Wijk. He's executive director at News Media Europe. Before this, he was a senior European public affairs manager at UOI. Kirsten van Wingeren, even another example, research director at Metrics Lab. Metrics Lab being a global market research company. Giel Seijnen, issue manager at Shell. Sander van Roselaar, spokesman at Dutch oil company NAM. High-ranking jobs, good jobs. Like I said, was it their first job? No, obviously not. You have to start somewhere, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is all those people's jobs reflect nowadays still what they have been doing in their study, communication studies. And I think that's important because this is the perspective this training gives, personal development and career development and the possibilities in that, which is quite good, I would say. So by now I take it that a lot of you want to do this study, and I'm really happy. So what is apparently important is the admission. Very shortly. Admission requirements are actually quite simple. Pre-university training in Dutch, what we call VWO, all profiles go. So hence all equivalents like Abitur for the Germans or International Baccalaureate will go as admissible for this bachelor. It becomes a little bit more complex if you have diplomas, holding a diploma from Roman language speaking countries, because you have to have a certain level of English. Even other countries might have admission requirements which involve extras in mathematics. It becomes a bit more complex, and therefore we have this admission office at the University of Twente. So if you have any questions, please discuss it with the admission office. The webmail addresses are given here, also the HTTP address and the phone number. So with any questions, don't hesitate to contact them and ask them. Registration and procedure, very simple. It all starts at StudyLink, address given here. The study starts at September 2018. The whole process and procedure will be quite self-evident. If you have any questions regarding your enrollment or subscription, here student services address, phone number is given. Do not hesitate to contact them. So I think that was pretty much it, the information from our side. Thank you very much for joining us in this webinar. Have a nice day. Thank you.